from Ryan Reynolds in this interview is just so absurd. He says that after he talked about how much he really, look up to Hugh Jackman and how amazing he is, he says, and now that I'm so much bigger than him, I've taken many of those lessons. I've realized that I'm too big to fail at this point, so I just crush my enemies and drink their...
And has a brother named Doug, who coincidentally is in the entertainment industry. Doug owns a company called Hypnotic that has ties to Universal Studios, and eventually moved over to Entertainment One. Well, Entertainment One was bought by Lionsgate. Lionsgate has ties to Ryan Reynolds. And Universal also has ties to Ryan Reynolds. If that's not close enough, Doug directed a commercial that Blake starred
in negligent interference with prospective economic advantage against Blake and Ryan. And there's something called breach of the implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing against Blake only. And those claims, are being repled. The judge gave us a roadmap to on how to replete those.
Are you going to get Ryan as well, Ryan Reynolds?
We'll see. I mean, obviously he's defending the case, so of course we're going to notice his deposition.
Justin Baldoni and his legal team just came through with some serious receipts, suggesting that Ryan Reynolds allegedly acted shady regarding Justin's lawsuit against Blake Lively. If you missed the chaos over the past few days, here's the gist. Justin's lawsuit against Blake was thrown out by the judge, but Justin and his lawyers aren't having it, claiming the case should be reassigned to a different judge because the original one was allegedly compromised. And just when it seemed this saga couldn't get any messier, Justin announced he's filing an even bigger lawsuit against Ryan, making wild claims about bribery, bullying, interfering with the legal process, and more. This situation is about to explode. Breaking it down, it's wild how this drama evolved from a disagreement on a movie set into one of the biggest and messiest scandals in recent memory, with lawsuits flying on both sides. And while Justin appears to have more public support than Blake, the entire scenario is a messy he-said-she-said situation with neither party looking great. Many assumed Justin would win since his case appeared solid, supported by receipts outlining Blake's alleged bad behavior, and multiple people came forward with similar claims about her being difficult on set. Blake even admitted in an interview that she sometimes misrepresents herself during castings to secure roles, only to switch tactics after the contract is signed, deliberately creating challenges for producers and directors, effectively sabotaging production to get her way, regardless of the disruption it causes to everyone else. With all this evidence and insider claims, the drama has reached a new level, pulling in major players, legal complexities, and public scrutiny, showing that Hollywood scandals are rarely simple and that even high-profile actors can be embroiled in conflicts that escalate far beyond the set, turning into multi-layered legal battles that keep everyone guessing about who's telling the truth and who's manipulating the narrative. The stakes are higher than ever, and the next moves from both Justin and Blake will likely define how this saga unfolds for months to come.
Important to say, okay, I believe in this, and that's why I'm standing up for it, and that's why I'm not being difficult. And then there are other moments to go like, am I in the room? Like, what is happening here? I would show up on a set. I knew that they just wanted me to show up and look cute and stand on a little pink sticker where I'm supposed to go and say what I'm supposed to say. But I also knew that that wasn't fulfilling for me, that I wanted to be a part of the storytelling, that I wanted to be a part of the narrative, whether that be in the writing, in the costume design, in creating the character. And sometimes I had directors or producers or writers who would welcome that and invite that once they saw that I was able to offer that. And sometimes I would have people who really resented that because they were like, we just hired you to be an actor. Yet when I went in the meetings, I would just seem like I'm just there to be the actor and ready to get the gig. I wouldn't reveal that I actually need to have authorship in order to feel fulfilled. So I think that for them, sometimes that might have felt like a rug pull because you're like, you're trying to assert yourself into something that we didn't hire you to do. And so it was a really strange position to be in because I felt like I don't want to just like...
This situation kind of traces back to what sparked Blake's beef with Justin Baldoni in the first place. She allegedly stepped on his toes, went over his head to do his job, and when the drama escalated, she filed a complaint against him. While it's not about blaming her, the odds were stacked against her from the start, and most assumed Justin would have an easy win. So, imagine the shock when the judge presiding over the case suddenly dismissed Justin's lawsuit. Reports indicate that on June 9th, Judge Louis J. Lyman granted motions to dismiss Baldoni's countersuit against Blake Lively, her husband Ryan Reynolds, and their publicist, which alleged extortion and defamation, alongside his $250 million lawsuit against the New York Times. The judge did note that Baldoni's legal team could still amend claims for breach of implied covenant and tortious interference with contract, with a deadline of June 23rd. So, while this isn't an outright dismissal, it was still a significant blow to Justin and his team. Blake celebrated the outcome with a statement on Instagram, writing that she proudly stood alongside 19 organizations defending women's rights to speak up for their safety and condemning retaliatory lawsuits and manufactured shame designed to break individuals. She emphasized her ongoing commitment to protecting every woman's right to have a voice regarding safety, integrity, dignity, and personal story, and encouraged followers to explore resources from supporting organizations, expressing gratitude to those who stood by her. Despite the apparent setback, Justin and his team are not backing down. His lawyer, Brian Friedman, stated that Blake and her team's declaration of victory is misleading, explaining that the case revolves around false accusations, retaliation, and a non-existent smear campaign, which Blake's team claims is untraceable because it cannot be proven to have occurred. Friedman stressed that the facts remain on their side and expressed confidence as they move forward, particularly anticipating Blake's forthcoming deposition. Crucially, the dismissal wasn't because the judge doubted Justin's honesty or legal standing. It hinged on a legal technicality enacted after the Me Too movement in Hollywood. This technicality protects Blake's allegations legally, meaning they cannot be used as grounds for defamation. Nevertheless, Justin's team is gearing up for an aggressive legal fight. Friedman revealed in an interview that the upcoming strategy will constitute full-scale legal warfare, and this time, Ryan Reynolds will be named as a defendant rather than merely a person of interest. The drama illustrates how Hollywood disputes can escalate from interpersonal conflicts into complex legal battles with multiple parties involved, showing that even high-profile figures like Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds aren't immune to tangled lawsuits and media scrutiny, while Justin Baldoni's team is prepared to pursue every legal avenue to challenge them. The stakes are high, and this case is far from over, with both sides maneuvering strategically to protect their reputations and assert their claims in a saga that continues to captivate public attention.
In negligent interference with prospective economic advantage against Blake and Ryan. And there's something called breach of the implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing against Blake only. And those claims, are being repled. The judge gave us a roadmap on how to replete those.
Are you going to get Ryan as well, Ryan Reynolds?
We'll see. Obviously he's defending the case, so of course we're going to notice his deposition.
If you think this has been a roller coaster, just wait for what happens next. Justin just came forward with receipts claiming that Judge Lyman is allegedly biased against him. He says the reason the judge suddenly dismissed his case on a technicality is because Ryan Reynolds supposedly paid $1 million bribe. It sounds wild, but think about it. If the case had gone to trial and Justin had won, Ryan and Blake would have faced a $250 million payout. Even with their wealth, that's not an amount you casually keep lying around, which makes a bribe seem like a cheaper shortcut. Now, if you're wondering how they could convince a sitting judge to take a bribe, this is where it gets even crazier. Judge Lyman's brother is reportedly best friends with Francois Henriot, the billionaire husband of Salma Hayek. Salma Hayek, in turn, is very close friends with Blake. And guess who Blake reportedly had dinner with just a few days before the case was thrown out? Salma Hayek herself. Fans are connecting the dots, and the lines are starting to add up. But that's not all. There's an additional connection between the judge and Blake and Ryan. The judge's brother has also directed a political campaign featuring Blake herself. So, when you put it all together, the network of relationships and influence raises eyebrows, making the sudden dismissal seem even more suspicious. What started as a legal dispute is now a tangled web of Hollywood connections, friendships, and alleged influence, leaving everyone wondering how deep the ties really go and whether this was just coincidence or a calculated play to protect Ryan and Blake. The drama is only escalating, and the stakes are higher than ever.
Has a brother named Doug, who coincidentally is in the entertainment industry. Doug owns a company called Hypnotic that has ties to Universal Studios. and eventually moved over to Entertainment One. Well, Entertainment One was bought by Lionsgate. Lionsgate has ties to Ryan Reynolds. And Universal also has ties to Ryan Reynolds. If that's not close enough, Doug directed a commercial that Blake starred in. Take a look.
If you're ever out somewhere and you're considering voting McCain, just call me and I'll pick you up.
Doug also has ties to a VR company, Invisible. Invisible has investments directly from Disney. The cherry on top is Christoph Beck, a composer that has worked on 4 films of Doug's. He also composed multiple episodes of a show called George and Leo. 2 of those episodes that he composed actually starred Robin Lively, these 2 episodes. He has also worked heavily with Disney, Marvel, and 20th Century. Some of his most well-known work is from Frozen. Christoph also composed for a movie called The Guilt Trip that was directed by Anne Fletcher, the same director for The Proposal that is owned by Disney and starred Ryan Reynolds. That one. Last but not least, he has heavy ties with Sean Levy, working with him on multiple films and TV pilots, one of the films starring Ryan Reynolds. All this to say, Judge Lyman needs to recuse himself, and I don't know why he hasn't done so.
Fans and legal experts are now pointing out that the judge should have recused himself from the case due to a clear conflict of interest, but apparently, we now understand why he didn't. Meanwhile, Ryan's legal team has sprung into action, and in addition to facing a new lawsuit against Ryan, there are reports that Justin's team is trying to prove the judge was allegedly bribed and biased against them. If they succeed, Justin's original lawsuit could potentially be reinstated, but that won't slow down the new claims, especially since Justin is determined to demonstrate that Ryan relentlessly bullied him. Remember when Ryan bragged about always winning over his enemies no matter what, saying he's too big to fail, and that he crushes his enemies while laughing at their reactions? Well, that wasn't even the first time Ryan went out of his way to get under Justin's skin. He's pulled stunts like this multiple times since the controversy began. Take the SNL situation, for example. Tina Fey and Amy Poehler were hosting and opened the floor for audience participation. About an hour in, Ryan eagerly raised his hand like a kid in class, but instead of offering something harmless, he delivered a joke that was clearly aimed at Justin. This pattern of behavior, combined with the ongoing legal battles and alleged influence over the judge, is fueling claims that Ryan actively sought to intimidate and undermine Justin at every opportunity. The drama continues to escalate, leaving fans and insiders alike watching closely as the situation unfolds and both sides prepare for the next move in this high-stakes Hollywood conflict.
Oh, hey, Ryan Reynolds. Hey. How's it going?
Great. Why? What have you heard?
At first, Ryan tried to downplay the situation, claiming the joke wasn't even his and that it had been written by the SNL writers. However, the producers at Saturday Night Live quickly shut that down, clearly not wanting to risk getting pulled into Justin's original lawsuit the way Disney had. They wasted no time distancing themselves, making it clear that the joke did not come from the show's writers. After the episode aired, longtime SNL cue card handler Wally Forreston, known as Cue Card Wally, went on the Australian radio show Fifi, Fev, and Nick to share some behind-the-scenes insight. What started as lighthearted storytelling quickly turned serious when the hosts asked the burning question everyone had been wondering: was Ryan Reynolds' joke scripted, or did he go rogue? Wally didn't hold back, confirming that the joke had been planned in advance, meaning Ryan had ample opportunity to change it, tone it down, or drop it entirely, but he chose to go through with it, fully aware of the reaction it would provoke. This wasn't a heat-of-the-moment slip. It was a deliberate decision, which only made the situation messier and left audiences questioning whether it was a petty dig or something deeper. The fact that it happened during the SNL 50th anniversary special, a major event with countless celebrities and millions watching, made it even more calculated, demonstrating Ryan's willingness to escalate the conflict despite the ongoing legal drama. The tension didn't stop there. Ryan allegedly took another shot at Justin at the end of Deadpool vs. Wolverine. In what seemed like a carefully orchestrated move, the character Nicepool appeared in the movie with lines Justin interpreted as direct digs at him. For instance, Nicepool's question, "Where in God's name is the intimacy coordinator?" and praise of Lady Deadpool for managing motherhood while referencing feminism were seen by Baldwin as deliberate swipes, mocking his own public statements about feminism during It Ends With Us promotions. Justin didn't just ignore the subtle diss. He escalated matters by bringing Marvel and Disney into the legal battle. According to reports, his lawyer Brian Friedman sent a formal legal letter to Marvel boss Kevin Feige and Disney CEO Bob Iger, alleging that Reynolds had intentionally targeted Baldwin through the nice bull character. The letter demanded that all documents related to or reflecting an attempt to mock, ridicule, intimidate, or bully Baldwin be preserved, signaling that Justin's team may pursue claims such as interference and intentional emotional distress. This series of events highlights a pattern of deliberate provocations from Ryan, suggesting that the legal battle is intertwined with personal animosity. The SNL joke, planned and performed on a globally televised stage, and the subtle cinematic digs in Deadpool vs. Wolverine indicate a strategy to intimidate and publicly undermine Justin. Combined with the ongoing lawsuits, these actions paint a picture of escalating tension where every public move, every line of dialogue, and every on-screen moment could be scrutinized as part of a larger feud. It demonstrates how personal grievances can bleed into professional platforms in Hollywood, turning entertainment projects into arenas for legal and social conflict. Justin's pursuit of evidence and legal action against Ryan, Disney, and Marvel underscores the seriousness with which he views these incidents, while the industry watches closely to see how calculated public jabs and alleged legal intimidation will play out in the courtroom and in public perception. The unfolding saga exemplifies the complex interplay between celebrity influence, media, and legal accountability, with both sides maneuvering strategically to assert their positions while maintaining public narratives. This isn't just about a joke or a movie line. It's about calculated moves, reputations on the line, and a high-stakes clash that keeps growing more intense with each revelation. Justin Baldoni's legal team is now reportedly planning an in-depth investigation into Deadpool, the film's funding, and the actors and producers who might have been aware of what they claim was targeted bullying during production. An insider noted that because Ryan Reynolds has not disputed that the nice bull character was based on Justin, this opens the door for Baldoni's lawyers to argue that their client was subjected to a coordinated attack. By acknowledging that the character was inspired by Baldoni, Reynolds inadvertently implicated not just himself, but also Hugh Jackman, the directors, producers, and Disney in the ongoing legal dispute. At this point, Ryan apparently realized the severity of the situation and attempted to remove himself from the case. In his recent legal filing, Reynolds portrayed himself as a supportive spouse who had witnessed firsthand the emotional, reputational, and financial strain Blake Lively endured. According to insiders, Ryan also framed Baldoni as trying to shame him for standing with his wife, which clearly didn't sway public perception. Meanwhile, Justin's entire case was dismissed under circumstances many are finding suspicious, especially when considering his bribery allegations against Ryan, which have fueled speculation about the case's outcomes. To make it unmistakably clear that Ryan is now a primary target, Justin's lawyer released a statement asserting that Reynolds' exploitation of his Hollywood influence is ongoing. The statement claims that Ryan, far from being merely a supportive spouse, was actively involved in defaming Justin, pressuring WME to drop him as a client, and attempting to sabotage his career. The legal team emphasizes that Ryan's actions extend beyond hurt feelings, alleging a systematic smear campaign against Baldoni that is well documented. The statement concludes by warning that Ryan cannot evade accountability, as the claims against him are both serious and substantiated. Observers suggest that Justin's meticulous approach, backed by receipts and testimonies, indicates he intends to pursue Ryan aggressively. This sets the stage for further messy showdowns, as the legal conflict continues to escalate with both sides leveraging their influence and resources. Fans and insiders alike are watching closely, particularly regarding the bribery claims, which could dramatically shift public and legal narratives. The unfolding saga demonstrates that this isn't just a legal battle over a character in a movie. It's a high-stakes confrontation over reputation, power, and accountability in Hollywood, with the potential for more explosive developments as both parties prepare for the next moves in this tangled dispute. The tension is far from over, and the community is waiting to see how Justin's bribery claims will be addressed. how Ryan's role will be judged, and whether this conflict will continue to escalate into a larger industry-wide scandal. The stakes are high, and it's clear that neither side is willing to back down anytime soon, signaling more dramatic revelations to come.